Welcome to this session. So, this is still domain one, and then we are almost in, I think we are in lesson 6 now. Okay, lesson 7, I think. Lesson 7. We're in lesson 7. So here we want to look at, we'll continue from where we stopped. We're still on domain one, which is planning AI-powered business solutions. And then what we are discussing is we've discussed requirement engineering, we've discussed data engineering, data architecture, data readiness check. We've discussed as model engineering, how you choose base model. We've discussed several databases that you can use on Azure. We've discussed several unstructured data and that you can use. We've discussed the platform for building Copilot Studio and the tools available. We've discussed Microsoft Foundry and when you need to build on Microsoft Foundry. We've discussed multi-agent orchestration patterns that you should consider, like sequential, like handoff, like human in the loop, and so on and so forth. We've discussed integrations, engineering, Dynamics 365 and Office 365. We've discussed when you should use single agent, multi-agent, researcher agent, planner agent, retriever agent, validator agent, and so on and so forth. So let's continue to what we have. Remember, in any agent you are designing, what you are focusing on is business value. And these three principles apply to business value. These three metrics, it's what you will use to measure, it's what you use to measure whether you are generating value for the business or not. So the first one is ROI, return on investment. How much profit are you generating? How much profit is the agentic AI solution generating for the business? And total cost of ownership, TCO. How many costs is it reducing for the business? And then secure adoption. So mitigating risk. Mitigating risk is the agentic AI solution secure for the use of the business. So these are what stakeholders are after. And then you must make sure that your agentic system design, you know, add this value to the business, generate high profits, reduce costs, and reduce employees, working time, make employees' job easy to do, and then secure adoption and the risk mitigation. Very, very important. All right. So this is the next slide that we have now. We have slide 27 on domain one, planning AI-powered business solution. So build or extend. So here on this slide, we want to look at whether you should build an agent or whether you should extend the agent that is already available in Dynamics 365 or Office 365 application. Some agents are already available. For example, in Dynamics 365, we have supplier agent, we have supply chain agent that is already built in. We have finance agent that is already built in. In Copilot 365, you have several main agents that is already built in, like meeting assistant, like Copilot agent itself, and then you can also extend, you can build custom agent inside your Copilot Studio or inside Microsoft Copilot agent itself or Microsoft Copilot AI. You can build custom agent even without going to Copilot Studio or Azure AI Foundry. So all you need to do is know when to use, know when to use the agents that are available in Microsoft Office 365, Dynamics 365, know when to build in, know when to build simple agents in Microsoft Copilot AI, know when to use Copilot Studio, and also know when to use Microsoft Foundry. They all have their use cases. So as a solution architect, you should know when to use which platform. Okay. So let's look at what we have here. Extend Microsoft 365 Copilot versus build custom agent. So you remember you can build a custom agent simply by giving a prompt or fine-tuning Microsoft 365 Copilot. I've built one like myself. I built a data analysis agent that will allow me to just analyze any data. I built a data engineer agent that will help me to generate code. I just upload the data, it generates a code that will help me to process that data and then build the table in warehouse. And then, so I just copy and paste in my Databricks notebook and then I build my table in warehouse, and I connect the workflow using my data factory, and then my work will have taken me a week. Normally takes me a day to do. Okay. So these are the benefits. Know when to use Microsoft 365 Copilot, know when to build custom agent using Copilot Studio and Microsoft Foundry. Okay, these are the three platforms available. So option and when to use. So the first one we have here is extend Microsoft 365 Copilot. When do you need to extend Microsoft 365 Copilot? See, work stays in Microsoft 365, simple productivity tasks, summaries, drafting, and knowledge access. Okay, so if you want an agent that will stay inside Microsoft 365 or Copilot, or just in Microsoft 365, maybe you want to integrate with Team, you want to integrate with Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and so on and so forth, then use Microsoft 365 Copilot. You just need simple productivity tasks. Like myself, I said I built an agent that will help me generate data engineering code, PySpark and SQL scripts to process data. You can build that. You can build a personal agent in Microsoft 365, like data engineer agent, or code generator agent, and data analyst agent. So you can use Copilot. Then if you need to summarize documents, an agent that will simply, where you just upload the document and it summarizes it, use Copilot. Then if you need drafting, an agent that will always help you to draft an email. Maybe you are the one that you have line manager, you have manager, and then you give report on the tasks you do every day. You write like up to 10 emails every day, and you need a drafting agent. Then you can simply build this in Copilot. Knowledge access. You need access to knowledge, maybe on SharePoint, on OneDrive, or the places that are available, your personal knowledge that you use for daily work. Then you can use Copilot agent. So this is good for building personal use case agent. Just like you can build agents by simply developing skills in Claude or in Codex work. We have we have co-work in Claude and in Codex. So just like you have co-work to build skills that will be doing tasks even when you are sleeping, you can also do this in Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay, it works like Claude co-work and you know, charge Codex co-work, and Copilot itself also now has co-work. So you can check it out if you are on a paid enterprise Microsoft 365 Copilot. You can check this out. All these are things that you can build to assist your day-to-day task, and you just be using your time to flex and do other strategic decisions that AI cannot do. Then build custom agent. So you can use AI to build custom agents. So if you need to build custom agents, you just like build custom agents. We are looking at option and when to use it. So when do you need to build custom agents? Use custom agent when you need complex workflows, when you need to connect to external APIs, when you need to connect to multi-step automation, when you need multi-agent orchestration, and when you need high autonomy. Okay, so all the one we discussed under Microsoft 365 Copilot, you still have to go there and give instruction before the agent will start working. So here, this one depends on you. You give instruction, you give a prompt before the agent will generate. But here, if you need for build custom agent where you need high automation, where you need multi-agent orchestration, where you need multi-step orchestration, when you need multi-step automation, when you need to connect to external API like databases, or like external databases like MongoDB, like Cosmos DB, OneLake, any complex automation at all, build custom agent. And Microsoft Foundry is required for building custom agent. Then the other option we have is use existing model. So I told you that there are existing model in Dynamics 365 and Office 365 that you can use. For example, in Fabric, we have Copilot has been integrated into Fabric that can help you to generate code, generate visual, summarize reports. We also have Fabric data agents that you can simply connect to your data, connect to your warehouse, your lakehouse, or your semantic model or visuals to generate information, to summarize, to look up calculation, generate PowerPoint visuals, PDF, reports, and Word document reports. You can simply use Fabric Data Agent. All you need to do is deploy it like as an item in your Fabric and connect it to the warehouse, to the lakehouse, to semantic model, and then you just give it a prompt, and then it use what is in the data to generate information for you. So which is simple. Those are already made. We have supply chain agent in Dynamics 365. And then we also have finance agents there that you can use. So all these are custom models that are already available. We have other custom agents integrated into Teams already. We have a meetings, this agent that take meeting notes and summarizes meeting and send it, give summary of every meeting that it attend and so on and so forth. So use existing model when you need to do summary, when you need an agent that can summarize when the task involves summarization, classification, translation, extraction, RAG-based solution. So you can use existing models. All you need to do is to connect the agent to your RAG-based, just like we have in Fabric Data Agent. You just connect it to the warehouse, to the lakehouse, to the semantic model, and then you give it a prompt, and then it uses the data to give you outputs, recommendation, and so on and so forth. Then create a custom model. When do you need to create a custom model? When you need specialized industry knowledge, regulatory demand, deterministic requirement, high skill. Okay, so create a custom model when you need a new agent, when you are building new agent that doesn't exist anywhere, that nobody has used, that the company has not built, or that is not available in Microsoft ecosystem. Then you build custom models. So specialized industry knowledge is required. Regulatory demand, you need to use company policy. Deterministic requirement, high skill. So highly personalized and highly customized. Then you need to use build custom model using Microsoft Foundry. Architectural guardrail. So prevent extension when it delivers enough value with lower complexity. So make sure you use so for guardrail, okay, if you are looking at implementing guardrail, because you may be constrained that using custom creating a custom model or building custom agent may be risky because of the amount of data you need to expose to this external agent like Azure OpenAI that are available, GPT, Claude. So all you need to do not panic, risk mitigation, because I know these are the first question that the CEOs, the CEO, the business manager, and business owner, these are the first question they will ask you. Is our data safe? Okay, are we safe by exposing our data to this external model? Okay, because if they are using many of these companies are already using Microsoft 365 Copilot, and Copilot gives a guarantee of data security. So they may be considering using they may want to limit access to only Copilot and not other agents, because they do not trust other agents like Claude, like GPT, so that they will not use their data to train model, thereby exposing the whole company information to this external model, and then their information are being stolen. So what you can use against that is guardrail. We said it several times. Guardrail will prevent exposure of unnecessary information to the base model. Okay, and then do not connect base model directly to the business platform. Do not connect base model directly to the entire business data, or even to any business data, whether minimum or maximum. So use MCP server, use an adapter to bridge the gap between enterprise platform, enterprise database, and the agent. So instead of the agent accessing and modifying and corrupting the business enterprise database system, you have an MCP server that will connect through a server and get the required information, pass it on to the agent through a client. Okay, so thereby the base model doesn't have access to the database. It only receives the minimal information it needed from the client, that from the client of the MCP server, and the MCP server and client communicates through what is known as MCP protocol. Okay. So it's in that way you have a guardrail, and even with the MCP server, you still have a validator that will pass that information through the company policy to redact any unnecessary information that is not supposed to be exposed to the agent. So this process ensures guaranteed safety. Okay, these are the guardrails that you can implement. So prefer extension when it delivers enough value with lower complexity. So this is what we have here in building or extending. So I believe this will help you to know when to extend Microsoft 365 Copilot, when you should build custom model, when you should create custom model, when you should use existing custom model and extend with company knowledge database or RAG database, and then that you must always implement architectural guardrail and then communicate this also to business stakeholders so that they will trust your solution. All right, this is slide 28. We have here custom model and small language models. Okay, so when should you use custom models? When should you use small language model? You know, we have been talking about model. So when we talk about model here, we're talking about base model. So base model, your base model are just like the base model. Okay, your base model are all you have here, GPT, maybe GPT-5. Okay, any form of GPT at all. We have GPT-4.0. This is very good for text generation and summarization. We have GPT 5.6, which is the latest now, Solana. We have Claude. Okay, so under Claude we have the Haiku. I don't know whether Claude has dropped Haiku now. We have Sonnet, and then we have Opus, and then now we have Fables. Okay, you can use Kimi K3. Okay, if you like, you can go for Grok, different model of Grok, there, Grok 3, Grok 4, the latest one, or you can use Gemini. Okay, we have Gemini 3 and so on and so forth. I think the latest is Gemini 3 now. So these are your base model. These are called base model. All these foundational model or LLM, they are called base model. And from them, we have SLM and SLM. So LLM is large language model. GPT-5 is large language model. GPT-4.0 is large language model. GPT-5.6, all these are large language model. Then for Claude, we have series of Claude model. Okay, so Claude, I think the smallest here is Haiku. So this is SLM. Okay, so this is medium. So this is just like medium, and the Opus. This is LLM. Opus and Fables, they are LLM. Okay, so this is also used for your token cost minimization. So if you need a if you want to do a simple task, you don't need to go and choose Opus. Okay, because Opus will generate, whether you are doing simple tasks or complex tasks, Opus will always generate more cost. So for simple task, you can use SLM, you can use Claude Haiku. Okay, for medium task that is not that complex, not that simple, you can use Sonnet. Then for very complex analytical tasks, you can use Opus. Okay, so you just minimize cost. So this way, knowing when to use LLM, SLM, we also help you to minimize cost. So these are things that you should familiar with yourself with. So familiar with yourself with all these base model, know the small language model and the large language model, and know where to use them so that you can minimize the amount of token usage. So custom model and small language model. All right, so use custom model when standard Copilot and RAG do not satisfy domain accuracy, compliance, or skill requirements. Okay, So take note, use custom model where standard Copilot and RAG do not satisfy domain accuracy, compliance, and scale requirements. Okay, so this is very, very important. So you've tried standard Copilot and RAG, and they still do not satisfy domain accuracy, compliance, and scale requirements. Then you need to use custom models. So you need to bring in this custom model. Maybe you use Microsoft 365 Copilot agent, you supplement with oil-free information, and it's still not giving you what you want. You've built, simple workflow in Copilot, and using Copilot AI itself, and it still doesn't generate what you want. Maybe you want to analyze complex data, and this simply cannot give you the analysis. Then you need custom model. You need to use all of this base model and build your own custom model from scratch, either using Copilot Studio or using Microsoft Foundry. The small language model fits low latency, edge, cost sensitive, and domain specific workloads, just like I've explained. If you need a simple task, whether it is custom model you want to build, or you just need a workflow, so as long as the task is simple, do not go and choose LLM like Opus. Use small model like IQ, or small model like Kimi, the smallest Kimi, and so on and so forth. So choose SLM when you need simple, when you want to solve simple problem. You just want to do simple task, low latency, cost sensitive, and domain specific workload. Use small language model. Then good SLM use case include regulatory analysis, manufacturing support, contract review, and field operation. Just like we have been using procurement as an example, because it is a distributed platform. So I'm still going to teach you about procurement and supply chain process. So you can see about 50 agents that you can use to solve procurement and supply chain problem, because those are most of the problem that this large enterprise, oil and gas, manufacturing company, like big company like Apple and all these companies that are involved in distribution, those are the problems that are facing on a daily basis. Okay. So good SLM use case include regulatory analysis. You can use SLM for regulatory analysis. You need to be regulatory analysis agent. Choose SLM like Claude IQ. Then you need manufacturing support. Use SLM like Claude IQ. You need contract review. Just an agent that will look at contract and review it. Use SLM. You need summarization. SLM is enough. You need feed operation and administration. SLM is enough here. Then avoid building SLM when retrieval augmented generation or prompt grounding is sufficient. Okay, so when RAG database is sufficient or prompt grounding is sufficient, you don't need to use SLM here. Okay, remember, when you can build simple agent in Copilot Studio by just giving prompt, your system prompt, and supplementing with your RAG database, maybe your Azure SQL database or SharePoint data or OneDrive data, and then you can just use prompts and RAG database. Then you don't need SLM. Okay, you don't need SLM. So if you have read books on AI, remember you need to implement prompts before you use when you want to build an agent, when you choose your base model like Microsoft Copilot 365, Office 365 Copilot, then the next thing is to give your prompt, system prompts. So system prompt will go like you can use a system prompt, you can use one shot or few shots. Okay, so we have few shot, we have zero shot, we have few shot. So for zero shot, you just give instruction without example. E.g., you are a data engineer expert. Whenever I give information, do this. Few shot is giving an instruction with an example. You are a data engineer expert. E.g., this is how you should process data. all those things. So that's zero shot and few shot, and then we have chain of thought, and then we have tree of thought, depending on the complexity of the task. So after prompt, the next thing you use is knowledge. Okay, which if you are using a RAG database, you connect to the RAG database. If you are just using file storage to supplement, then you connect to your SharePoint or OneDrive. So, and after that, if prompt is not enough and and you've tried RAG database, it's not enough, then you need fine tuning. So that's when you connect to your SLM for fine tuning. The model choice should balance cost, latency, accuracy, security, governance, and lifecycle overhead. Remember, in all these things, when you are doing it, remember to focus on the metrics that of your business value, return on investment, total cost of ownership, and risk mitigation. Make sure as much as possible to build or plan your architecture to minimize cost, to maximize profit, and to, or to secure company information. So governance and security is very, very important. It's very, very important, and latency and accuracy, and also balance cost overhead. All right, guys, so let's look at what we have here on slide 39. We have prompt library and engineering governance. So prompt assets. So this is prompt engineering. So prompt engineering is just giving an agent instruction on how to perform a task. And we have several types. We have zero shot, we have few shot, we have a chain of thought, and then we have tree of thought, just like that. So prompt engineering is giving the agent instruction, whether only instruction, it can be only instruction, it can be instruction with examples, it can be sequence of instruction, it can be tree of instruction, interconnected instruction, just on how to perform a task sequentially or in parallel or in concurrently, depending on the complexity of the task. So prompt library and engineering governance, how should you implement that? So sorry, I forgot to discuss architecture here. So remember, in custom model, your architecture terms, always remember this architecture term. So custom models, small language models, fine tuning, edge AI, and cost efficiency are your architecture terms on the custom model and small language. Okay. So for prompt asset, let's look at our architecture term. The first one is prompt library. Okay. So if in just core agentic AI development using Python and in AI 103 or AI 200 or AI 300, like that, it is said that you should treat prompt as a code. So your prompt should be fashioned. Okay. Remember, the way a supply chain process was carried out 10 years ago is different from the way it will be from the way it is being carried out today. And the way it is carried out today will be different from the way it will be carried out, or the way it will be done 10 years to come. So you should always fashion your prompt. So maybe you use a prompt last month, and then the process has gone complex. The process has advanced more than the prompt you used last month. Then you need to update the prompt and renew it, okay, and feed it back to the AI. So that is from prompt fashioning. So you should treat your prompt as a code and fashion it, pass it through source control. Make your prompt part of your CI/CD pipeline. Let your prompt also be in the repository with your code, so that when the pipeline is triggered, it also passes the prompt to development, to staging, and to production. So you always have a updated agent prompt. Okay. So prompt library and engineering, these are architecture terms. Prompt library, you have the library of prompts. That's where you keep all the prompts, all the agent skills. You are versioning, very, very important. Make sure prompts are versioned. Use CI/CD, use source control. Okay. Treat your prompt as code as well. Risk classification. So make sure you also pass prompts through governance. Okay. You can't be given a prompt that the agent should not implement? What if the task you are giving, what if the task, the information you are giving in the prompt is against the company information? For example, you are building a finance agent and then you are giving a prompt that will say, whenever you pay out $1,000, make sure you deposit, withdraw, from the $1,000, deduct $100 and pass it to my account. That's corruption. We are building an agent that will steal from the company and send $100 to your account. That kind of prompt. So that's where policy is there. When you pass that kind of prompt through company policy, the policy will see it and redact that information and reject it. How can you steal from company and then it reject the information? Or you are passing a prompt that will approve wrong supplier. Maybe the supplier is not an expert, supplying fake products, fake instrument to the company. And then, okay, maybe because the supplier is the friend of the business owner, and say, okay, make sure you give a prompt that will approve this process, that will not stop this compliance. So when your company policy is there, it will still, even when the prompt approve the policy, even when the prompt has caused the agent to approve the supplier, it will still pass through, our company policy, and the policy will still allow the supplier to be rejected. You can see how policy agent or validator agent is acting as a guardrail, acting as a bridge or as an anti-corruption layer in the agentic AI system. So that is a very, very strong layer that you must always make sure you include in every agent that you are building in an enterprise to prevent corruption. So you have few shots. I've explained few shots. That's a given instruction with example, with one or more examples, and then output format. You can also include how the agent should produce your output. Maybe summarize your content summary. How should it produce the output in executive command or format, or just as a or just as a plain text, or include visuals in visual form, in PDF form, document form, PowerPoint form, or just generate text. So you can always define this. So these are architectural times that we have under prompt. Okay, so let's look at what we have in our test. So we have enterprise prompt become governed asset with purpose, owner, version, risk classification, and approved platform. So enterprise prompt is very, very important. Just like code are very important, enterprise prompt is very, very important, because that is where that is the main task. It's just like the certificate of your employee, because when you want to employ someone, the first thing you look at is their CV and their certificate, and before you start testing their capacity, whether they can do the job. Okay, so prompt is just like the document you collected from the employee to ensure that they can perform the task that you employ them for. First of all, in enterprise, you will not employ a graduate. For example, you need a procurement manager, you need an accountant. You look for somebody that has gone to school, maybe with BSc, MSc. You look at their CV, you look at their reputation, their ID card, whether they are capable of doing the job or not. So prompt is just like your employee CV. So treat it as an asset. Make sure it is governed, make sure it is purposeful, make sure it is it has owner, make sure it is fashioned, make sure you pass it through complete policy, and make sure use it is approved. Make sure it is approved. Okay, so very, very important. Use approved platform. You can use a repository. You can use GitHub for keeping your prompt and all these things. Very, very important. Core prompt instruction. So these are how you should design the prompt instruction. These are how you should structure the prompt that you are giving to your agent. The first thing you should do is instruction. E.g., you are a data engineer expert. Okay, you are a procurement manager, or you are a contract administrator, or you are a supply chain manager. Okay, or you are a supplier administrator, or you are a finance agent, you are a finance expert, you are an accountant. All those are instruction. Then you give context. Context is just, like a skill, the breakdown of the action that you want the agent to do. Okay. So maybe approve a supplier, um, reject a supplier, give a supplier an ID, assign purchase order, register the contract, and you know, um, or call Iman in the loop for approval, and then receive payments or approve payments. Those are contests. Okay, contests are just a simple minimal instruction to perform several tasks sequentially or in parallel. So they are just breakdown of task. How you break down the task, and then the language here must be very clear and precise. Then you have the output format. You can give the agent output format, how it should generate output when it has completed a task. Then you can give the agent constraints, things that it should do and things that it must never do. Okay, so you can say never approve a supplier with so history. Okay, when it check background, you should not approve. Never approve a payment that is above $50,000. That is constraint. You are setting constraint. Okay, so constraints are just boundary that the agent must never cross. And then you have governance metadata. So you can also give governance metadata as an instruction. So governance metadata are just like policy files, policy information that you can use to also set constraint, or make the agent operate within a context boundary. Then we have 4 pillars of prompt engineering. So the 4 pillars of prompt engineering in Microsoft are clarity. Make sure your prompt is clear. Make sure it is not vague or ambiguous. Make sure it is contextual. So make sure it is within the boundary of the domain. Make sure the context is within the boundary of the business domain. You are building a procurement agent, and under procurement agent, you are building a particular agent called contract agent. So all your context, all your language should be the language of a contract administrator, not the language of a supplier agent. You understand? Make sure you operate within business context boundary. Okay. Do not cross to another domain. Do not give another domain instruction. For example, do not give a contract agent a supplier instruction. Do not give a contract agent a finance instruction. Okay, give the instruction or the context that is needed to perform the task, and then make sure you implement constraint. Make sure you give your agent boundary, things it can never do, and then also give the output format. So these are the pillars: clarity, context, constraint, output format. If you're writing the examination, take note of this for prompt pillar, 4 prompt pillars: clarity, context, constraint, output format. Then we have techniques include role prompting. So with techniques of defining a prompt, you can use role prompting, e.g., you are a contract administrator, you are a finance manager. Okay. Then we have few shot prompting. So few shot is instruction with an example. Okay. Few shot is also role prompting plus example. Okay, so you give instruction on how to perform the task, and then you give examples of the one that you have done, so that it will follow that example, learn from the example to perform any other task you want to perform. Then we have multi-step prompting. So multi-step prompting is also called the chain of thought prompting. So multi-step is breaking an action into steps, into step 1, step 2, step 3, and so on and so forth. And then those steps can be linked together sequentially. That is, when move from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4 to step 5, and so on and so forth. So you can also define parallel step. So all the steps will be performed concurrently and then sequential. The step after one step, another will be done. And then the agent cannot jump from step 1 to step 5. It must move from step 1, step 2, step 3 to step 5, and so on and so forth. Then we have structured outputs. So another technique is structured output. So you can structure the output. When task 1 is done, it generates the output of task 1. generate the output of task 2, or you want it to combine all the output together. So you can also structure the output of a prompt. Then prompt maturity move from simple prompt to governed enterprise prompt libraries. So we have said when prompts mature, you remember when you're just building, you may just have one repository of prompt, one file prompt. But as the task mature, then your prompts you all should or mature along with the company. Remember, very, very important. So when prompt mature and then you want to update the prompt, implement version control, store your prompt in repository, implement source control and CI/CD, whether using GitHub or Azure DevOps. So make sure your prompt also pass through development, staging where it will be tested, pass through guardrail and to production. Very, very important. So this is how you can implement prompts as an agentic AI business solution architect. All right, on this last slide of this section, we have operating model. So operating model are how you should, operate as an agentic AI business solution architect. How should you operate within an enterprise? You will be working with business. You'll be working with business owners. You will be working in a large enterprise. You will not be sitting in IT department alone. No, the work of an agentic AI business solution architect is to bring AI transformation into an enterprise. So you will not just be sitting in IT department doing nothing. Okay, your role is not to sit on laptop and just be looking at workflow, looking at things. You are working with business domains. You are working with all the departments. You are bringing the transformation into the business. You are teaching people how to use AI, what benefit AI can bring to the business, how AI can reduce their task, how AI can help them with their tasks that follow patterns, tasks that they do daily, tasks that require less autonomy, simple to complex tasks, how AI can help them do in a day what normally take them a week, how AI can help them to do in a week what they normally take them a month, how AI can generate high return on investment, how AI can reduce cost and efforts, how AI can also make them operate within mitigate against risk, okay, by using forecasting and recommendation, how AI can also entirely, mitigate risk in the company. So this is what you are bringing. So therefore, you are not an engineer that is just sitting and implementing tasks. You are communicating daily with business owners, with business managers, with department managers, with people, and then you are bringing transformation and teaching, letting them know what AI can do, and they're turning, learning their workflow, learning their day-to-day activity through requirement gathering, using Q&A, and collecting, engaging them to know their pain points, and then turning those pain points into solution, explaining that solution to them, and letting them adopt the solution. Okay, so you can so that they can see the value of the solution and the return on investment, the total cost, the reduction in the cost of ownership, and how easy it may make their tasks to become, and so on and so forth. So this is what we are doing in the company. So as a solution architect, first of all, you have to know how this thing works. You have to know every department operation, their workflow. I'm not saying you should be able to do it, but you should have knowledge of it. If you cannot read about it, simply walk to them and greet them, and then start using Q&A to gather knowledge. Let them know who you are. Let them know what you work as. Let them know the reason why you are collecting those information, and let them know that you are here to turn their pain point into a testimony, into a solution that will help them to become an expert, even as an employee or business owner. So you should be very, very friendly, and you should be a good you should know how to communicate, okay? How to communicate business value, not just communicate. You should know how to engage stakeholders in communication, okay? So this is how you can go about it. And then we have this operating model. We have AI Center of Excellence, Compliance and Training. Okay, so you can always, I know it's not easy to make company, especially in Nigeria, to make company adopt this AI. So what you can use is use AI Center of Excellence. AI Center of Excellence has many pillars. It comprises of many stakeholders together, stakeholders of all the departments, IT, and you as a solution architect. You are also part of the AI Center of Excellence. Then compliance, how AI can, comply with, operate within policy boundary, operate within the policy of the company. So the compliance is very, very important. And then also train people. So the best way to make the company adopt it is by training them. Train individuals, train departments, train CEOs, train CTOs, train CFOs, train managers, train them. If they don't have time, you can just do a 5-minute slide and just simply go to them or call 2 or 3 people into team meeting and just explain it to them. And then out of those 5, you will see at least 2 or 3 people that will be interested to know more. And then you can go to them individually and start gathering information from them. And then from there, you can know their pain points and turn those pain points into an agentic AI solution that they can adopt and then you can implement for them. So AI Center of Excellence, we have compliance and training. So architecture area and requirement element. So these are the operating model that you need. So AI Center of Excellence rules. So these are the rules of AI Center of Excellence. You have executive sponsor. So you have just like we have in project manager, you normally have project sponsor. So executive sponsor are the people that will sponsor the AI. Because if you want to build AI, you still need some level of a company of financial assets to purchase, platform for deployment like Power Platform or Azure Container App, and then pays developers that will deploy it. So you need a sponsor that will sponsor the whole solution. Then you need COE lead, you need Center of Excellence lead. So you need a lead that will lead the Center of Excellence, and the person must be a good communicator as well. The person must have knowledge of agentic AI and how it works. The person must have knowledge of governance, security, IT operations, and business process, management and operations. So you need a COE leader, then you need a product owner. So product manager is always needed. You need somebody that will own the agentic AI product. Then you need business SMEs. You need the business SME are just like the business owners or the business managers. You need them here. You need stakeholders from every business department. You need stakeholders from procurement. You need stakeholders from supply chain, from finance, from legal team, from HR, from IT. You will need all this business put together. All of them should be part of this Center of Excellence. You need data owner, okay? So data owner of every department. In procurement, there's a data owner, the person that owns the entire procurement data, where you can always get information about the data from supply chain. We also have data owner. In finance, you have data owner. In IT, you have data owner, and in everything. Remember, in process intelligence, data engineer is always part of this process. So in AICOE, you also need a data engineer. Very, very important. Very important, because the foundation of every good model is the data. So if the data is good, the agent will be good. But if you don't have data, what do you want to connect with in the first place? So if there's no data, then there will be no agent in the first place. Then you need compliance officer. So compliance officer is just like the person that is in charge of policy. Anything you want to do, it is the compliance officer that will check whether it agrees with the company's policy. If it doesn't agree with the company policy, then you cannot operate it or you cannot build it. So compliance officer must be part of the AI Center of Excellence rules. So these are the people, these are the roles or the kind of position or the kind of officers that can occupy the role of Center of Excellence. So you need all of these people as part of Agentic AI Center of Excellence. Then technical roles. So these are people that will build the agentic AI. So as a solution architect, you should make sure that part of your team, as part of your team, you have AI engineer responsible for building the agentic AI, and that will know how to choose the best model. You need data engineer that will build company data, that will build lakehouse, warehouse, and the RAG database. The role of a data engineer is very, very important in building RAG database, vector database, and the warehousing, lakehousing, and generating structured and quality data for the agent. Then you need data scientists. So data scientists are responsible for training base model. So they can fine-tune base model, they can train base model, or they can build a model from scratch, maybe auto encoder, a recurrent neural network, or recommender engine, or any foundation model that you want to build at all. Data scientists are the one that will build it. So you need a data scientist, okay? Because they have deep knowledge of the data. Then you need app developer. So you may be saying, okay, I have an AI engineer. Why do I need an app developer? So remember, the role of AI engineer is to build agentic AI. So they are responsible for defining prompts. They are responsible for connecting the base model to the RAG database that the data engineer has built. They are responsible for fine-tuning the model, okay, and deploying the model. So the role of the AI engineer is basically to choose a base model, give the agent prompts, connect to a tool or build a tool, connect the agent to a company database using MCP or build the MCP. Then they connect with agents to RAG database, they fine-tune the agent and test the agent. That is their word. But an AI engineer may not be able to develop the front end of an app. And then if you build an agentic AI solution with a bad user interface, you are building for disaster. Nobody will use it. Okay. So the user interface must be understandable to the business owner. You are building for the business owner. So if you build an application that they cannot use, then you are building application that nobody will adopt. Okay, so you are architecting application that nobody will adopt. So you need an app developer that will develop the agentic AI backend into an application with a good user interface, with good human experience that the business owner can easily see and understand and know how to use it. Then you need MLOps engineer. So MLOps engineer are the one that will be in charge of the deployment of the solution. After the solution has been tested, passed through development, staging pipeline, then moving to production, MLOps engineer are in charge of the CI/CD and the whole development process. So MLOps engineer are the one that will deploy the application to production and observe the application to generate feedback whether it is doing what they will collect observability metric, and then you as an architect, you use the observability metric to determine the success of the application, to determine the adoption of the application, and to determine whether the application is generating business value. Then we have COE responsibilities. So what are the responsibility of Center of Excellence team? So their responsibility is to make sure that the application is governed. Okay, so you remember a compliance officer is part of the team. So they are responsible for seeing to it that the application that you are developing as an architect is governed. They are responsible for ensuring that the application is of company standard, that it meets company standard. They are responsible for training stakeholders, business owners to adopt the application, to adopt AI. They are responsible for managing agentic AI portfolios, okay, business portfolios, anything that has to do with agentic AI, type of agent, how many agents were built in this department, how many agents is used by business manager, how many agent is manager A using, how many agents is manager B using, what ROI is this agent generating, what total cost is this agent generating, how is this agent being adopted, how is it being managed. So you need a portfolio manager that will manage the agentic AI for portfolio. And The COE is also responsible for managing the agentic AI portfolio, and they are also responsible for mitigating AI risk, okay, and making sure that AI operate within bounded context, operate within the company policy. Then we have regulatory assessment. So these are jurisdiction, regulation, risk classification, residency, AI obligation, Microsoft control. So regulatory assessment is very, very important. It helps you regulate application. For example, you may have a company that will say that we have a particular data center where they deploy their application. They are building a Microsoft Foundry, for instance, and the company normally uses UK South for their deployment. For example, we have companies that build on Microsoft in Nigeria, like Seplat Energy. They use UK South. So every application you are deploying must be deployed in UK South. So because that is the data center that is closest to them. So this is part of regulatory assessment. You cannot just deploy application in any data center. You must make sure that the application is deployed within the data center, in the data center that the company has adopted. Then you must make sure that data that are not supposed to cross boundary. For example, if you are building for banks in Nigeria, they have said that people's information should never cross, financial information should never cross boundary. So in such a case, you should know how the company store their data in cloud. What cloud are they using? What data center are they deploying? Are they going to use on-prem because it's not crossing boundary, or do they have permission to cross certain boundary and deploy application? So all these regulations are very, very important, and that is why you are working with compliance officer to make sure that you are complying with company policy. Very, very important. So regulatory assessment involves a jurisdiction, regulation, risk classification, data residency, determination, AI obligation, what AI can, what they should use AI to do and what they should never use AI to do, and Microsoft controls. So operating within Microsoft control. This is Microsoft ecosystem. So everything you are doing should operate within Microsoft control. You should not build in Microsoft and go and deploy in AWS. Okay, these are Microsoft solution. Then training scope. So very, very important as part of Center of Excellence role. So you must adopt AI literacy. You must, evangelize AI in the company that you are working with. Evangelize agentic AI. Make the company adopt it. For example, when I was working in a particular company, the general manager of the IT department, scheduled a training session for the entire meeting, department by department, to explain what AI can do for them, how AI can make their work easy, how AI can assist them, what they can use AI to do, what they cannot use it to do, how AI can help them analyze and generate data and generate summaries, generate meeting summary and all that. So that is part of the training that was conducted, and this is what you should be doing as a solution architect. So evangelize AI literacy. Make sure people adopt it, explain it to people, explain how it can generate high business value to people. Then also train people on how to prompt. Okay, so train people on how to give agent the right prompt, how to ask agent or AI the right question. Prompt is very, very important. So how people should use prompts to generate the right information from the agent. So teach people how to use prompt engineering the right way. Okay, workflow integration. So also train people on how to integrate AI with workflow, so that as time goes by, so many of these workers can just go to Copilot Studio and develop simple agents that they can use to perform their task. And some of them can also use Microsoft 365 Copilot to build simple agents that can help you to do small tasks that they normally do by themselves on a daily basis. Then also train people on validation, how to validate every output of AI with company policy, and then train people on how to use AI responsibly. Okay, know that they should know which data they to expose to AI and which data they should never expose to the AI. They should know all of this. Responsible use of AI is very, very important. And then they should know how to access AI, make AI accessible to people. If we have a top company that have paid Office 365 Copilot, they are using it, so because the company make it accessible. So as an AI solution architect and part of Center of Excellence platform, make sure you make AI accessible to the people. Make sure AI is accessible to employees. Make sure it is accessible to the business stakeholders so that they can use it, and make sure everybody adopt AI in the company. So these are how you can operate as a solution architect and part of the agentic AI Center of Excellence. So in the next, okay, all right. So we have on this slide business use case. We have said that uh three AI, you should focus on these three business value that you are generating for the business as a solution architect. The first is return on investment, ROI. The first is total cost of ownership, and the next one is a risk mitigation and secure adoption. So part of the architecture here is also built by extent. You can build from scratch, custom model from scratch using any of the platform we have discussed. You can buy. Okay, you can buy from vendors, anybody available in Microsoft ecosystem market. You can also extend custom model. You can extend the one already available in Dynamics 365, Office 365, like Fabric Data Agent in Microsoft Fabric, like Supply Chain AI in Dynamics 365, and like other meeting or note taker that are already available on Teams and so on. Then we have model router, very, very important. This allow agents to route information to a particular tool. It allow agent to communicate with tool, and then we have payback. So these are architecture terms that you can know, that you must know and implement under business case. So ROITCO, built by extend, and model router. How should you implement this? So first, let's look at ROI. ROI criteria include productivity gains, cost savings, revenue impact, risk reduction, and strategic value. So if you want to explain this ROI, how agent will generate return on investment to the company. So these are the terms that you should focus on. How AI will improve productivity of employees, how it will help them save cost. Okay, cost of employ 5 people on a task that one agent can do. So cost of running, or cost of using LLM, cost of using SLM in place of LLM, cost of reducing instruments, internet, cost of buying resources, and so much. Just how AI will help the company reduce cost, reduce spending, okay, by doing tasks that will take months in days. If you are doing tasks that will take months in days, then all the money you will spend in 1 month, you can just spend just 1% of it in a day, and then you get the task done instead of just spending a whole lot of money in 1 month. So that is cost saving. So all this time are very, very important. Revenue impacts. So I explain what impact agentic with AI will have on revenue, because when tasks that they are supposed to get done, supplier that they are supposed to approve and get paid maybe in 1 day, if it's taking about 1 month, that money will be there, and it may not have generated any profit. So they can easily get the money, maybe get the task done in 1 day, get the money and invest the money, and before you know, before the end of the month, the money is already being used in another business and in generating income. So these are revenue impact. In predictive analytics, in maintenance, AI can forecast, when a particular instrument or particular machine needs to be repaired so that it will not stop production. So instead of waiting till when the machine will be spoiled and they will repair it, AI will forecast, oh, this machine is getting weak. It needs to be repaired today so that it will continue producing at its capacity instead of waiting till 3 months when it will have downgraded and stop producing before they repair it. So AI prevent reactivity using predictive analysis. Then we have risk reduction, how AI will use guardrail to reduce risk and strategic value, how AI will increase decision making, increase decision making, add value to the business, make recommendation for the company to mitigate against risk, generate summarization to improve decision making, data analysis, visualization, and helping the company see value visually and in a simple way. So these are all ROI terms that you should know. Then we have TCO. So total cost of ownership include development. So cost of development. So instead of going for, expensive custom model, you can simply build in Copilot or Microsoft 365 and have the solution maybe in a day instead of paying millions to developers to develop. So cost of deployment, different platform, on Power Platform for Copilot agents and on Azure for Foundry agents. Then cost of operation. So let them also know how cost of operation will be reduced. Okay, let them know the cost of operation, because when you build this model, you also need a person that will be in charge of it. You need a person that will own the agent, that will use the agent on a daily basis. You need a site reliability engineer that will always observe the agent in order to retrain the agent when it or update the prompts whenever it is no longer working well. Okay, then you need change management. Okay, you need people that will approve your architecture. You need people that will approve your development architecture, deployment architecture, and operation architecture. So everything you are doing must pass through change management. So, and then support. So TCO also includes support. We need support staff that will support the agent and see to the operation of the agent and ensure that the agent is doing well on a daily basis. Then you also need training, okay? Because people need to be trained and you will pay for the training. So you need expert consultant that will train the people on how to use the agent, how to prompt, how to use the right prompts, what output they can generate, and where to use the agent, what they can use the agent to do, what they cannot use to do. So staff must be trained to know the value of the agent. And then you need the commissioning. So when the agent is no longer needed, you need to retire it. You need to remove it from the system. So this is where the commissioning comes in, because you cannot have an application hosted and spending money when it is no longer useful. So when it is no longer useful, you need to remove it from the system. You need to decommission it. So the commissioning is part of total cost of ownership. You cannot be paying for an application that is no longer useful. So you need to withdraw it or retire it. Then build when uniqueness and control justify cost. So make sure you build when you need a custom agent, when you want to implement a custom workflow that there's no way you can buy or extend the one that is already available. You need a custom model. So you should build when uniqueness and control justify cost. When the company can afford it, build. Buy when speed and standardization matter. So when you need something that will work faster, that will start working now, and there's simple task, you should buy. Okay, when latency and standardization matter, buy agent. Then when extend when Microsoft platform solve most requirement and customization. A company that is already operating within Microsoft platform, they are using Power Platform to build application. They are using Dynamics 365 for ERP operation, Office 365 for day-to-day activities. Then they can easily adopt most of the agents that are available in Microsoft platform, like Fabric Data Agent in Fabric, like a supply chain in Dynamics 365, like finance agent in Dynamics 365, like summarizer agent, meeting notes taker agent that is available on Teams, and all the ones that are co-pilots that can easily be integrated with a company domain, company platform like SharePoint and wherever, and the Microsoft Word, the ones that are available in Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and all those places. So extend when Microsoft platform solve most requirement with customization. Then Azure Foundry model router. route request by cost, latency, accuracy, complexity, and reliability. So when you want to build custom model that is complex and beyond the capability of Copilot Studio, that is when you should go to Azure AI Foundry. And it has a model router that can route requests by cost. You can use small language model there. You can use Claude IQ. You have you have small language model and large language model. So you can choose agent, you can use speed model based on the complexity of the task, based on latency, on accuracy, on complexity, and reliability. So also know that decision quality depends on baseline metric, okay? Scenarios, stakeholder validation, and measurable outcome. So plan decisions must prove values, cost control, select the right Microsoft platform path. So make sure it is very, very important. Select the right Microsoft platform, select the right agent for the right task, use simple agent for simple task, complex agent for complex task. Know when to use know when to build custom model, and know when to buy a model, know when to extend what is already available in Microsoft ecosystem as part of your solution, and know this architecture, know this value, ROITCO, okay, and risk mitigation, and be able to communicate this to business stakeholder.